very much, Chair. And I apologise to my colleagues from the FBU and POA for stealing anything, but I've got to be somewhere else. I think last year I looked like a bit of an apologist for the Employment Rights Bill. Because I do wear several hats, and one of them is Chair of TULO, which is all the affiliated trade unions. But if you believe us in the FBU and the other left-wing unions that sit there and sit in the NEC, the Labour Party, don't make the arguments we make here today, you're wrong. If you don't believe that we're not losing those votes 18-10 or 18-12 in every room, you're wrong. We do not go away. Our beliefs do not go away. And what sometimes we see a coat we're standing for under democracy isn't quite reflection of what we believe or what our trade unions believe. And we're going to have greater difficulties. Don't believe that taking Angie Rayner out of the game and Justin Matters, right, is not going to allow them to try and water down the Employment Rights Bill further. Don't believe that going through the Lords, that the Federation of Small Businesses, the Institute of Directors, the CBI, the right-wing press, Farage, and all those other vested interests aren't seeking to change it. And it'll be harder now to change all those things. There are 250 different clauses to this bill. When we started, and I hate this word, but I'm going to use it, journey, right, it was under Jeremy. And we got Andy MacDonald to write the Green Paper. And we had to fight to get that Green Paper through the National Policy Forum. And the unions did that. And then we had to sit in rooms to stop them watering down even further. Now, we always knew it was never going to be perfect. Proud to stand in front of you last year saying it's the starting point. We will need ERB2, possibly ERB3. But we need to get what we've got through the Lords next week in its entirety and not watered down any further so we can build upon it in the right way going forward. And I want to echo the thoughts of all the comrades, to everybody who's been out on strike, to my RMT colleagues out striking cross-country in the Tube, to those in Hull Trains, who in my own trade union have been out for 74 days, to all those, including the FBU, Unison and all the trade unions came to our rally in Hull last week and spoke for commonality, spoke for comradeship, spoke for unity and spoke for solidarity. Thank you for that support. And I, like many of you, thought after 14 years of austerity and a Tory government, any Labour government had to be better than what we had before. And we came so close in 2017. 2,000 votes of having Jeremy there and changing the face of what we did. Got mullered in 2019. And then we've got what we've got now. I never thought I'd have to stand up with my colleagues and be arguing against PIP. I never thought we'd be talking about with the fuel allowance. I never thought we'd be talking about hurting the poorest in this country while the richest in the country are still not paying their share of tax or any tax at all. That is wrong. We need that wealth tax that's been spoken about, but we also need the richest to pay their fair share. And it does break my heart about some of the things that we failed to achieve. When I and Steve stood at the mass rally, if you want, I'll do that. Here's a stream of consciousness gone. When Steve and I stood at the mass rally with the bin workers, we were proud to do so. But it's more devious than it's been espoused. They're doing this under equal pay. What they're claiming is Birmingham City Council's bankrupt. Well, after 60% Tory cuts over a long period of time, I'm not surprised. And they're not going to be the only council that's had their services cut. So we need, as we say, to put not only that money back in, but the money we should have to run the perfect services in our communities. But what they've done under equal pay, some of the poorest workers in the country, we're going to take money off you. Now, I might be slightly misguided. I thought the purpose of equal pay legislation was to bring people up, not to take people backwards. So our full support to the Birmingham bin workers and the Sheffield bin workers that are looking for recognition. It's the right place to do, and we should not take a step backwards, and your fight is our fight. And it is going to be difficult, because we have a fledgling government that is bowing right to the right-wing press. In the May elections, we saw little leaflets with light blue Union Jacks on, talking about how Labour dealt with immigration in the 70s. We can't park our tanks on Farage's lawn. He's better at it than we are, and it's the wrong bloody message anyway. We need to get back to our roots, what we believe and where we need to do. We need to send a message out from this TUC this week about what we want and where we want to be, and we as a movement internally in the Labour Party and those not affiliated should be campaigning for a better world for everybody, where hate is not the norm, but community, living together and moving forward is. So there is some good stuff out there. We launched something a bit radical. 3 minutes now. Every time he does that, I lose 15 seconds. But we launched something radical in the Scottish Parliament, knowing it wouldn't get through. If we need to build 2 million houses, if we need to build the hospitals, if we need to build the infrastructure, the roads, the railways that our people need, let's start doing it. And we put forward in the Scottish Parliament they should do it by green bonds. Let's borrow ethically, let's put the money back into the communities and let's use that money rather than PPP or a bastardised PFI to drive things forward. We need proper money, proper green investment, proper green transition, and at the end of it, we need those nationalised assets to stay in the hands of the people that paid for it, not to go to the privateers. So just a surprise, Rob, I'm going to wind up early. I believe we can fight. I believe we can win. I believe the battle, as always, starts in this room and every other room like it. And while we stand together, we can do it. But I'll take a little tip from my colleague from Brighton and leave you with a thought. Excuse me while this loads. Don't want to get it wrong. Apparently, in the Oxford New English Dictionary, there's a new noun, a farage. The rancid liquid that accumulates at the bottom of a bin, and that's where he belongs the most.
And by the way, Mick, all the best as well.